All right, guys, hopefully you had a great discussion. Now we'll talk about in the gym. So many times I've heard people say, and you've probably heard them too, and you may have even said it, but I can't do CrossFit because I'm not in good enough shape. I can't do CrossFit because I can't do all those crazy muscle ups and snatches and all that stuff. And as a coach, it's so frustrating because, you know, I know that the reason that you're supposed to come here is because you can't do that stuff. The reason you start CrossFit is because you're not in shape to do CrossFit. Like, that's really the whole purpose. But, you know, hearing people say that, I'll tell them, hey, like, that's the exact same thing as when I used to say I'm not sober enough to go to AA. You know, it's kind of the same idea. It's like, that's the reason you're here. You come here because you aren't able to do this stuff on your own, you know? And so it's funny how we use these things to sort of keep ourselves away. My experience with AA was very similar. I drove up to so many meetings and didn't go in. You know, I kind of heard of what it was, but I had this idea of what went on in there and who those people were, and I didn't meet the requirements. I wasn't one of them, you know? So it's interesting to think about this idea. You know, we tell people all the time, the only way to get ready for CrossFit is to start doing CrossFit. And hopefully you guys have sort of seen that, you guys that have made it over the hurdle or have made it through the doorway and gotten started and realized that it is doable. You know, it's brought down to your level. And so the idea that you have to meet some minimum level of fitness, some minimum requirement of capability in order for you to come, it really sounds ridiculous to us now. It's important, though, that we don't forget where we once were, right? So when I started CrossFit, I couldn't do CrossFit either. Like, I was about 80 pounds overweight and incapable of just about every exercise that was on there. And so the way that we deal with that is by bringing the program down to your level, which is really how recovery works as well. You know, some of the things we're talking about progress earlier, some of the struggles that we're having now, we'd have been dying to be having 5 years ago or early on in our sobriety. You know, I would have been dying to be trying to decide which friends to invite over rather than sitting at the house with no friends to invite over, you know. So that's the kind of thing that happens as we progress in our sobriety, but it's important that we never forget where we came from. It's important that we keep the doors open to the newcomer. So for the workout today, oh, and I wanted to share this quote with you guys. So the guy that started CrossFit, Greg Glassman, he kind of said it best when he said that, you know, physicians are like lifeguards and trainers are like swim coaches. When you need a lifeguard, you need a lifeguard, not a swim coach. But if you need a lifeguard, you probably needed a swim coach and didn't get one. You know, the idea is to get people involved in recovery before they need a doctor, before they end up in jail, before they kind of hit the bottom. And the idea with CrossFit is to get people, same reason, to get people involved in health and wellness before they get a diagnosis, right? So it's just one of those parallels that I wanted to point out, is that the idea is that we're trying to get you in here in order to get what we have. There's no minimum requirement except for a desire. And I look at it the same way. The minimum requirement for the AA membership, the desire to stop drinking. Minimum requirement for CrossFit membership or SobrietyWoD membership is just a desire to be healthier. So the workout for today is a AMRAP in 10 minutes. We're going to do 1 squat, 1 burpee, and 1 sit-up. And then immediately 2 squats, 2 burpees, 2 sit-ups, and then 3 squats, 3 burpees, 3 sit-ups. And you'll keep going for 10 minutes. Your score is going to be your total reps. And then at the end of class, or to take home with you, it's just this kind of thought experiment, I guess. But what would you say to somebody who said that they weren't in good enough shape to try SobrietyWoD, or they weren't in good enough shape to try CrossFit? And you can also add on there what you would say to somebody that thought that they couldn't meet the minimum requirements for AA, NA, or any kind of recovery program. So you guys enjoy the workout. Have a good time, and I'll see you next week.